Taking a look back at Fantom, I posted my previous video around here somewhere, I believe, and to be honest with you, I kind of just forgot about it. But I mentioned in the video that we could very well see somewhat of a W bottom pattern. It was actually the most likely situation, in my opinion, especially considering that we had such heavy resistance from these tests of the green box, previously green box, I guess, as well as the test here, which sent us flying. You can see that we did not get the bullish RSI divergence here on the daily. We set a lower low, so that theory is becoming validated. Zoom in here and take a look at the Ichimoku cloud and the EMA ribbon on the daily. You can actually see that we have been testing the EMA ribbon quite a bit throughout this range. So we could very well be seeing a move to the upside relatively soon, as the more often we test zones of support and resistance like this, the more likely we are to break it to the upside. We also have to keep in mind that the 200 daily EMA as well as the Ichimoku cloud is ahead of us, and those could offer us some resistance as well. You can also see that the Ichimoku cloud is widening, which isn't a good sign. If you take a look at the 4-hourly chart, you can actually see something similar. We've been testing the EMA ribbon quite a bit throughout this range. We actually managed to break to the upside here, but ultimately got rejected off of the Ichimoku cloud. And even after that rejection, we've been testing it relatively heavily throughout this range, and especially here. The Ichimoku cloud is relatively thin ahead of us, so if we are going to break this to the upside, we need to do it relatively soon. So that way we can maybe use it as support and then break through the 200 EMA here and ultimately trend higher. But again, we do have a lot of resistance ahead of us, because if Fantom doesn't come back up here and break this level, it could get shot down even further. It's also worth a mention, it looks like we're getting some hidden bearish RSI divergence on the 4-hourly. You can see that this high here is lower than this one, so the trend of the highs on the indicator is going up, but you can see here on the price we are setting lower highs, so that means the trend of the highs are getting lower. So when you have something like this, it usually means that there's going to be a continuation to the downside. So I've turned this green box to red as we have broken it to the downside, since we'll be likely using it as resistance. We could either find resistance off the bottom of it at 87 cents or even all the way up the top at around $1. And I've added this green box here to capture this high as well as this lows, as well as these highs throughout this range here. And considering that, since we have come down from this point to this point, almost 80% here, I'm expecting somewhat of a reversal relatively soon. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to break all-time highs, but at least somewhat of an uptrend before we see another downtrend. And if we take a Fibonacci retracement from this low to this high here and zoom in a little bit, you can actually see that we have tested the 1618 level at around $65, and it currently looks like we're trying to find support at it. So if we manage to do something like this, come back into the red box and then reject down, we could very well find support in this green box, which ranges anywhere between 40 and 60 cents. If we do manage to break this red box back to the upside and start using it as support, I'd really like to see it start testing this uptrending level of support here again, so that we can break back into it and start setting new uptrends. Because as you can see, we've been continuously in a downtrend here with lower highs as well as lower lows. And ultimately, if we do break this green box to the downside, we could very well sweep this low yet again, which I don't think is likely in my opinion, but it's just something to keep an eye out on. I also wanted to mention something pretty interesting here on the 4 daily. The 200 EMA is actually providing us a little bit of support here right now, and it's lining up relatively well with this 1618. So if we do find a bounce here, which we very well could, especially since we have such a powerful indicator on the longer time frame offering us support here, and we could very well come all the way back up to this uptrending level of support here and form somewhat of a inverse head and shoulders pattern before we start trending higher. But again, as of right now, I still think we might have one more small push to the downside before we see that move up. So this is all I have for Fantom today. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do so, as I try to post content daily. As always, this is not financial advice, and I'll see you in the next one.